Seventh Legion, the ultimate tactical massacre. I remember playing this as a kid at my cousin's house. He's older than me and he had access to teen games before I was a teen. And he showed this game to me and I was instantly hooked. It was during a peak time of influence for my developmental mind, and this game has had a rent-free spot in my brain since. Now, before getting too deep, I have a disclaimer. When doing actual research for this, the first thing that comes up when searching for 7th Legion is the game on Steam, which does not work without a mod. And the second thing is some faction for World of Warcraft or something. And I do not know anything about World of Warcraft, and thus this video has nothing to do with it. I don't know how big the 7th Legion in World of Warcraft is, but I'm sorry to disappoint those that thought this was World of Warcraft related. And the other thing that I found when searching for 7th Legion was something about Star Wars, and this won't be about that either. 7th Legion was one of my first PC gaming experiences from when I was probably younger than 10 years old, and I've never met anyone else that has played this game before. So does anybody remember this? I only know of myself and my cousin who introduced me to 7th Legion as ever having played this game. And of course I tried showing this to my friends, but not having a copy myself and downloads being unavailable, I could really only express my love for this game through incoherent ramblings and drawings. And now, I get to do the same thing through a video essay that nobody asked for. 7th Legion is a real-time strategy game from 1997 that was only available on Windows. It's rated T for teen because it's about war. And it was developed by Vision Software and Epic Mega Games, like the Epic Mega Games that is currently Epic Games. And it was published by Microprose, who also published the first two Civilization games, XCOM, and some Tycoon games, like Pizza Tycoon, Transport Tycoon, and Roller Coaster Tycoon, in 1999 and 2000. Nintendo also had a hand in getting 7th Legion to port to the Nintendo 64, but that was never released, and I am not convinced it ever existed. 7th Legion has two single-player campaigns, one where you play as the 7th Legion, and the other as the Chosen. It also supported online multiplayer when it was released. However, in 2014, Tomo, a publisher and distributor of classic games, released the game on GOG.com, but without the multiplayer. You can actually get it from GOG.com for $6 USD, or you can get an unplayable version of it from Steam for $7. And 7 is the theme of the game after all, as you'll come to see. I actually don't know if the GOG.com version works because I got mine from Steam, but I had to install a mod to get it to work. And I think there are free versions online that already have the mod, but I don't condone piracy. Anyway, the single-player campaign throws the story right at you with a cutscene for all the exposition you need for the reason behind the game. And this cutscene can actually be found on the GOG YouTube channel. In the future, the world becomes inhabitable due to overpopulation and exploitation of natural resources. This leads to all the governments enacting Planetary Evacuation Program, or PEP, and that's how you know it's a science fiction game, because all the world's governments are like-minded. Basically, the idea of the program is to leave the planet and let it heal, just like WALL-E. But, of course, there is not enough room for everyone, unlike WALL-E. And these chosen few, who are basically just the rich and powerful, leave Earth and jump in hyperspace to pass the time, which leaves behind a broken and scattered population to die. But they don't die. Instead, they form into 7 legions. Not the 7th Legion, but 7 separate legions. And after 7 generations, the 7th generation of the Chosen return to Earth. These people had to be enhanced because the fragile human frame couldn't handle the rigors of space. They come back in what is known as the Returning, to reclaim what they left behind. However, the 7 legions knew of this returning because it was prophesied for centuries by 3 signs: a night without darkness, a day without light, and a rain of fire. All that is a cryptic way of saying that the wormholes opened up to give a night without darkness. Then the amount of ships that were entering through those wormholes gave a day without light, blocking out the sun, and then all of those ships entering Earth's atmosphere to return caused the rain of fire. Except the population that was left behind was not having any of that, so the 7 legions come together, set aside their differences, and fight for the planet. The 7th Legion is the most powerful of the 7 legions. After the cutscene, you, the player, assume the role of the commander for the 7th Legion, and are tasked with bodying the Chosen. And this whole time, the 7th Legion is depicted as blue, and the Chosen are depicted as red. So, 7th Legion walked so Halo could run. So that's the story if you care, but I'm really here for the archaic 1997 jank gameplay, and I'm mainly going to be talking about the skirmishes, because that's the base of the game after the campaign. Now, replaying this game, I understand the biggest gripe that I see with recent reviews, and that's the pathfinding. So, characters will wander on their own instead of going where you designated them to be, or they won't go there at all. If you're lucky, though, characters do walk around obstacles automatically, and they get as close as possible to their destination, if their destination is unreachable for some reason. Luckily, it's not possible for them to walk off cliffs or drown, but really, while the pathfinding is janky, it adds little flair to the game, and it doesn't make it unplayable. I'd argue it's more realistic if you want to argue that. You could say that they get incorrect coordinates or incomplete communications. I actually thought it was always me messing up their actions, but after I read the reviews and other people were having the same problem, it was kind of a sigh of relief for my sanity.
Please help me.
Ratings for this game were and still are mixed across the board, not just on Steam. GameSpot gave it a 41% and Gen 4 rated it 2 out of 5 stars. Yet, PC Gaming World rated it 9.5 out of 10. Personally, I'd rate it 75% with all things considered, excluding nostalgia. I think it's aged fine, and what you can get for it, even free, it's worth playing the story, and a skirmish can last up to an hour if you have fun with it. But I'll get to challenges and how I like to play later. Before starting a game, you have to select your options, like how many credits you're going to start off with, the technical ability of your army, whether you want to play as the 7th Legion or Chosen, the difficulty setting, and the map. Credits are self-explanatory, that it's basically the monetary value in the game, and the more you start off with, the faster you can develop. The technical ability selected affects the equipment and personnel you have access to, the difficulty setting changes how fast and aggressive the AI builds and attacks, and the map isn't really that important, because you won't be seeing all of it anyway. Each of these vary how the game will play out, except your choice of faction, which is just an aesthetic really. When you load into a game, you start off with these 2 tanks and these 4 units, and that truck-looking thing is your Mobile Base Unit or MBU, that you have to deploy in order to really start making progress. That gives you access to power plants, and power plants are essential because everything needs power, and the more buildings and turrets built, the more power plants that are needed. There is no quantity given for the power consumed, it's just a little bar that increases the amount of yellow in it, and to lower the yellow bar you just build more power plants. However, building more power plants or more buildings in general isn't a bad strategy because the point of the game is total annihilation, and you're alive as long as you have a single building or even soldier left. After the power plant's built, the barracks are unlocked, and they give you access to bio-enhanced armor-wearing folk. These soldiers are as followed. The machine gunner with their plasma rifle. The Slaven rider, who rides what I can only describe as a raptor. They are different feral beasts depending on the faction according to the lore. The story behind the 7th Legion raptors are that they are tamed feral beasts from some particular map, and the Chosen biologically and mechanically engineered there specifically to fight and be ridden in war. Next you have the mortar unit, who just shoots mortars, then the cybernetically enhanced soldier known as the commander, and the priest who can heal soldiers. After a barrack and power plant is built, access is given to the rest of the structures, these being walls, hospitals, repair bays, the high-tech lab, mines, and 2 classes of turrets, but most importantly, the tank factory and robot hangars, because never have I ever actually used the walls, hospitals, repair bays, or labs. The tanks at the 7th Legion's disposal range from having 1, 2, or 3 cannons, called the Crusader, Crucifier, and Faithhammer respectively. They also have the Tormentor, which is a single cannon long-range tank, and the Purifier, which electrocutes units. The manual says that commanding a Purifier is an honor second only to commanding a Faithhammer. The Chosen only have 4 tanks, their light class being the Marauder with its twin caliber cannons, the medium class tank, the Oppressor, with its single high caliber cannon, their long range Avenger, and the heavy class Annihilator with its twin heavy assault cannons. The robots, or assault chassis as the manual calls them, of the 7th Legion are the Inquisitor with its laser cannons, the Revelator with its standard twin laser system and missile pack also carries the colors of the 7th Legion, the Nova with its payload of 24 missiles, my favorite, and the Redeemer with a long-range missile. The Chosen also has robots, one being the Dominator, the lowest class of robot, the Venom Typhoon with its long-range venom missiles because it's a spider, the Obliterator, which is an improvement over the Dominator and also carries the colors of the Chosen, and the Pyroclast, another spider-looking robot that acts as the purifier for the faction, but also with longer-range lasers. Now, regardless of strategy, the idea is to find the enemy before they find you, and this is easier said than done, because while you do have a mini-map that shows where your troops are, the entire map is covered in fog, because I guess the Earth didn't heal like they thought it would. Typically, I send out what I call the expendables, or those starting troops that you get right away, to find the enemy base because what else are they supposed to do? Along the way, you can find these P boxes, or crates, that can either be good or bad with varying effects. Boxes are easy to find because a cleared circle of fog shows up on the minimap that the box resides in when a unit walks within range. I couldn't find the effects in the manual anywhere, but one of my favorites is something called Merry Christmas, where all the nearby troops turn into pine trees. On your path to annihilating the enemy, both sides get up to 5 battle cards at a time. The manual reads, "Battle cards can be used to turn the tide of battle by enhancing the capabilities of your force or doling out big-time damage to the enemy. Level 2 and Level 3 cards are more powerful versions of their Level 1 counterparts." These cards are a main component of gameplay because they can be quite the advantage, whether it's a heavenly hammer to the troops, extra credits, or increased production speed to factory buildings. Cards affect those that they are played on, so it is possible to play disadvantageous cards on yourself and advantageous cards on the enemy. The cards are as follows. Machine Curse. This causes enemy units to move, turn, and fire in slow motion. Battle Psychosis 1, 2, or 3, which enables affected units to temporarily move and shoot at twice their normal rate of speed, with 2 and 3 lasting longer than lower level cards. 1 in a Million enables any one unit to kill any other unit anywhere on the map with its next attack. A mom get the camera moment. Godhammer 1 and 2, which pounds targeted units with a divine hammer strike, especially effective when played on vehicles, with Godhammer 2 being stronger and probably having a larger area of effect. Equilibrium. This allows all units in the game to get the same power-up and special abilities as the targeted unit, except for bombs, if that targeted unit were to have one. Skill Strip strips all power-ups and specials from the affected unit. Battle Rage. For a short time, the affected units fire continuously. The targeted force can also build and repair at a more rapid pace. However, this hypermetabolic rate also results in damage to all affected units. The card Domination steals control of the targeted enemy unit and all other enemy units in the immediate vicinity. Immolation 1 and 2 incinerates targeted units, although it is not as effective against vehicles. And in the manual it doesn't state the difference between 1 and 2, but my guess is that Immolation 2 has a greater area of effect. Doomfist 1 and 2 damages all units of the targeted force. Also, it blows up walls in a multiplayer game, which is now useless. And again, I also think level 2 increases area of effect. Chaos causes affected units to go temporarily berserk, attacking everything in their paths, including each other, with indiscriminate fury. Now, there's also Chaos 1 unit, which is Chaos, but it targets the unit it's played on. It's not that the single unit becomes chaotic, but the whole army targets that one poor soul and wipes them off the face of the earth in a split second. It's hilarious and probably my favorite card. Displacement Warp warps all units within a limited radius back to their base. Skill Steal steals all power-ups from the target unit, and distributes them to the card-dealing forces units in the vicinity and units currently selected. Damage transfer adds up the total current damage of the card-dealing force and inflicts it upon the targeted forces units and buildings. Life Siphon heals all units of the card-dealing force by sucking the health from the enemy target and all other enemy units in the immediate vicinity. Deception allows the affected units to disguise themselves with the uniform color of the enemy. Drop the card on your own units, and then select an enemy unit to adopt its color, which I'm assuming is just for multiplayer. Infiltrate captures whichever enemy building except the base that the card is dropped on. Surveillance Jam scrambles the target force's radar for 2 minutes, which, if you're only going against the computer, I don't think it matters. More of a multiplayer card. Holy Blessing makes affected units immune to all card effects. Holy Blessing one unit makes only one unit immune to all card effects. Summon Darkness plunges the targeted force into darkness, and it says in parentheses high detail. I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming this is another multiplayer card. Summon Blizzard freezes affected units, and while frozen, those units can be killed with a single shot. Summon Apparition summons a small army of ghostly assault chassis, or robots, to fight on the side of the targeted force. However, these spectral units disappear after taking a single hit, so not all that useful, but I guess a good distraction. Now, Summon Dark Legion is another favorite of mine. It summons a number of quote-unquote dead machine gunners and commanders to come back to life to fight for the card-dealing force. Which is cool, because, as it states, it's a darker version of your legion or faction. Armageddon is a fun card because it destroys all units, all structures on the entire map, except for the bases, which are reduced to 1 point of health. Blast Fog 1 and 2 clears fog from a portion of the battlefield, revealing the terrain below, with 2 having a larger area of effect. Holy Curse curses a group of units so they can't be affected by beneficial cards. Holy Curse level 2 temporarily prevents the targeted player from using any of their cards. Balance takes all credits and distributes them evenly among their forces. Teleport allows targeted units to move instantaneously to the next selected destination. Stealth 1, 2, and 3 makes targeted units temporarily invisible to the enemy. Proximity to enemy units, low health, and offensive actions will have a negative impact on stealth, with Stealth 2 and 3 having stronger resistances to those negative impacts. Reveal reveals units hidden from view by stealth. Steal credits steals approximately 25% of the target force's credits. Steal credits level 2 steals approximately 50% of the target force's credits. Demolition destroys any targeted building except for the base. System Disruption temporarily disrupts manufacturing in a targeted building. The building will produce a random unit rather than those selected. Reveal Cards reveals another force's current cards when dropped on any one of their units. Redeal deals the targeted force a new set of cards. Fate redeals all players' cards. Steal Card reveals another player's card, and at any point from then on, allows you to steal one of those players' cards and play it instead of one of your own. Once you have played one of the other player's cards, their cards are hidden from you again. Bless Production temporarily increases the speed of production of the targeted building type, and will also remove the effect of any curse that may be applied to that building. Curse Production temporarily decreases the production speed of the targeted building. Now, a notable card of the 52 available is the Joker card, which can be anything. The manual literally says, quote, "Play it and see." My approach to this card is to move a single unit far away from an army and play it on them alone, because you only make the mistake of playing on it your entire army and getting Doomfist 2 once. While you are on your mission of slaughtering the entitled bastards of the Chosen's army, you get to listen to some of the greatest soundtracks produced for a video game. Blair Zupazic did not have to go this hard with the composition, but it makes me appreciate the game more. This was actually the last game Blair worked on, and I have no idea where they are now. But listen to this heat, with my personal favorite being stat music.
Structure complete. 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 Structure complete.
Now, skirmishes can get pretty repetitive once you get the hang of them, so ever since I started playing again in my adult life, I give myself challenges to spice things up a bit, and I always play on hard difficulty because it really isn't that difficult, and I start out with the lowest credits. However, to push it over the edge, I restrict myself to using only low-tech equipment while the AI can use whatever they want. Now, truth be told, I've yet to win this way, but I'm getting pretty close. There's plenty of maps to explore and ways to play this game. The only regret I have is missing out on the online multiplayer because I know damn well my cousin and I would still be playing this game together if that was an option. There are so many games out there that have similar features and gameplay to 7th Legion that it wouldn't be worth a revival if I'm being objective, but this game will always have a place in my heart as one of my firsts. And if you made it this far, I can't thank you enough. Let me know what you remember about the game if you ever or still do play it. And if you never played it and you made it through the video, check it out for yourself. I'm new to the YouTube game, so a like and subscribe would go a very long way and be greatly appreciated. I can't thank you enough for watching. I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark. Peace.